Toko buta atau kita kehilangan seorang?
Yo.
Ya, toko tidak di sini. Dan toko itu menurut tidak ingat.
Come on.
Ya. Dia adalah bagian penting untuk quest trial kali ini.
What are you gonna do?
Oke, aku kan ke sana dan menyeret dia kemari. Tunggu sebentar. Oh, bagus. Aku percaya, tapi dia menyeretku ke sini. Dia memaksaku. Aku tidak percaya kau bisa menyeret dia lagi. Sekarang semua sudah di sini kan? Oke, kemungkinan dia nggak mau karena dia mungkin pelakunya. Tapi gua rasa ada plot twistnya nanti. Pelakunya mungkin orang yang kita sangka-sangka ya. Untuk sekarang gue berpikir pelakunya si Toko sih. Chihiro, dia sangat lembut, sangat lemah, sangat tenang dan tidak ada seorang pun yang bermasalah dengannya. Sekarang membuat pilihan untuk membunuh gadis seperti itu. Nah, pembunuhnya ada salah seorang dari kami, orang yang berdiri di sini. Oke. Terus pertama udah hilang 2, 3, udah 4 orang. Habis ini mati lagi 1 pelakunya, 5. Habis satu persatu habis nanti. Bagaimana menurutmu aku mendekor ulang? Bukankah ini segan? Bukankah ini menyenangkan? Jangan buang-buang waktu dengan pertanyaan bodoh itu. Ayo kita mulai saja.
Very nice.
Oke.
Well, chills, kick.
Now the fun begin. Oh la 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 la. Males gue bacanya. Ya, gue masih nggak ngerti sih skill ini fungsinya untuk apa. Gue masih belum ngerti sih sebenarnya untuk ininya.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only then
Oke, ini sama
I'll punish.
penjelasannya.
Let's talk about the murder weapon.
Kita bicarakan mengenai senjata pembunuhnya. Pertama kita harus memperjelas apa yang digunakan untuk untuk menyebabkan kematian ya. Barbelnya sih.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been? I bet it was an iron pipe. Interesting.
Nggak kena. Sial.
Certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Oke, kita skip. Iya, kena.
No, it's wrong.
Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
Pelakunya laki-laki yang kuat yang bisa ngangkat barbel dengan berat segitu loh. Anggaplah ya ini 2,5 kilo ya. 2,5 kilo, 5, 10, 20 kilo.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
Ini laki-laki yang kuat.
You looked at her head wound?
Iya.
Yay! That's so creepy.
Karena tempat kejadian aslinya kan itu kamar tempat laki-laki terus ditukar gitu ya. Jadi pelakunya laki-laki yang kuat.
If you don't mind, I will
Bisa
proceed
jadi.
from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
Genocide Jack, penjahat yang kejam. Apakah dia benar-benar membunuh Chihiro? Aduh, ada elemental baru ya. Ada lain dengan white noise akan appear untuk mengantar reaksimu. Terus barat akan menghilang jika mereka mengenai garis ini. Jadi berikut mereka mengenai obstacle ya, halangan untuk debatmu. Jika kamu menembak remark dengan sensor mode daripada white noise, time limit akan berkurang. Oh. Jika kau election difficulty set gentle, atas tidak akan muncul sekali. Oke, berarti sekarang ada peredam segala. Peredam segala.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure. Case closed. As far as
Oh, gitu. Jadi waktunya bakal nambah.
That's impossible.
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on. There's just no proof for it.
No, that's wrong.
Yes. Karena kasus genocide ternyata ada sih.
Might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library. I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kind of weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the library?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that for now. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
Oh, that's right.
Goblok.
Ooblust.
Goblok.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
Oh, tak mesum dasar.
But more important is the other characteristic, and it's something that has never been made public.
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
Asli guys, setiap genocide cek file ya, yang mana dunia tidak tahu. Victim of position.
Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
Wow.
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
What? Okay, wait, hold on a sec. Toko has like bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of blood?
Alter egonya dia sih yang
Is Toko
ini ya.
Genocide Jack? The answer is yes.
Yes
And no.
Another riddle? Man, why is this gotta be so complicated?
Nah, ini benar-benar teka-teki, tapi aku merasa aku mengerti. Oke. Dia punya kepribadian ganda sih, jadi ya Hangman Gambit. Apa ini ya? SH. Oh. She's Zo. Oh, klik kanan. Sial.
Now I understand. Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file too. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
Kelakuannya berubah.
I got it!
Ketawanya jadi ketawa
You're
psycho
talking
gitu loh.
about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up...
I'm fine, yeah. Habis itu udah mati, pakai mati. Wow.
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can handle blood, and one that obviously can.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
Aku tidak akan membiarkan Genocide Jack have control. Ya betul, berarti Genocide Jacknya memang dia.
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
How?
Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this?
Bagaimana cara kamu semua ini?
What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Yang diktator adalah bagaimana mungkin kau bisa mengatakan padamu.
Last night, just before Monokuma
Oh.
gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story.
Oh, si Toko berarti cerita duluan sama
She
dia.
said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right, Toko?
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
Aku tidak memberitahu siapapun.
You promised! I can't believe you lied!
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to.
Wow, Byakuya, you're snitch, bro. Wow, Byakuya, you're snitch, bro. Gila. Diceritain rahasia terus dibongkar gitu aja sama dia.
This is the real world.
Mampus. Apanya juga yang salah.
You broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise...
Aku tidak bisa menjaga janji kita. Jangan khawatir, tidak akan lagi. Aku tidak akan biarkan Genocide Jack mengandalkan lagu
You
lagi.
said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that. But you
Mampus.
weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing. Could you?
I tried. I swear I tried to control it.
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I
Mampus.
hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person you don't mean.
Baru tubuh Toko tiba-tiba mundur, kemudian jatuh. Namun saat selanjutnya, iya, udah ganti kepribadian. Serem banget ya.
Is it me you were hoping to see?
Side Jill aja.
What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck
Wow.
is this?
What the fuck is this?
What happened to you?
Not Toko. That's a loser name. And what happened is a textbook split personality. So what if
Wow.
one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's fault.
Wow, menggila dia.
Intense.
Dia benar-benar gila.
Say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've
Gila-gila,
come to know.
benar-benar beda anjir.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back, you know. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of
Sengaja
every
berarti dia
group
diundang kemari
lives
buat
a
bikin
little
kacauan
light.
sih.
Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
Interesting plot twist. Tapi lebih seru kalau misalkan ini nggak ketebak gitu loh, karena tadi kan ketebak banget gitu loh plot twistnya. Menurut Jack Jack ini benar-benar gila.
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question? What's up?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you, I am the mastermind of all masterminds!
Oh.
Just kidding!
Then it's not true?
Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid? And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless! I mean, they just let this idiotic bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town!
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a
Nice.
necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone.
Keren.
Just kidding again!
Gila, beda banget jadinya.
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death. There's clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
A motive?
What if?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be revealed. Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about Genocide Jack. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
Oh, oke. Motifnya kuat sih. Kuat banget malah.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
Oh, aku bukan pelakunya katanya.
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless, it's the truth.
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah, I could never believe a word you say, you monster.
Mungkin dia benar-benar mengenai hal itu, tapi ada sesuatu yang mengganggu. Dan dia bilang aku harus lebih detail mengenai hal ini. Oke. Status of the dead body.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking.
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more
Modus
proof
operandi?
do we need? Give it up. You killed her.
Oke, dia cuma bicara modus operandi. Oke, modus operandi aja yang perlu gue tembak. Yes. Karena dia pakai gunting sih. Dia pakai gunting buat bikin posisi ininya tersalip gitu.
I'm not so sure about that.
Iya. Karena korbannya kan kayak disalip pakai gunting itu loh, ditusuk tangannya kan. Dan ini cuma pakai kabel biasa gitu doang.
I
Jadi
think
kayak
there's a
tiruan
slight
sih.
difference between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Huh? How's it any different?
Oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you!
Asik.
I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of doing things. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything.
Dan guntingnya tuh sama semua gitu loh. Custom made ya, pesanan ya.
But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee. This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that in a way that maybe makes more sense.
Gue lagi dengan sedikit kata-kata yang lebih masuk akal.
There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Yang satu yang jelas mengenai pembunuhan, foto-foto mengenai jasa cek. Ya.
I got it! For one, the cause of death is different.
Penyebab kematiannya.
In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way.
Oh, itu korbannya dibunuh dengan tusukan di leher ya.
According
Interesting.
to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right. In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce.
Gila.
Stop comparing killing people to cooking? So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
Yep. Yang kedua adalah mengenai bagaimana posisi tubuh, bagaimana korban suspended. Oh bukan, sorry. Yang nomor 3. Dia pegang gunting aja.
Shoot!
What was used? Sorry.
I got it!
Oh tadi when ya, gue kira
Do you
what
remember
tadi.
what the
Gue salah
killer
baca,
used to
sorry.
suspend her?
Pantesan.
They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her wrists.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, something else was used to suspend them. Specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I used my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement. Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use.
Interesting.
And you know what else? Big Mac said there's 2 differences, but he's wrong.
Dia kata ada 2 perbedaan, tapi dia salah.
You
Memang semua aku.
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually 1 more difference.
Ada 1 perbedaan lagi.
Huh?
Hah?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were in each Genocide Jack case. There's a pattern there, just waiting to be discovered.
Oh, semua korbannya laki-laki.
A pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
Ada pattern jenis subjek korban yang tidak ya.
I got it!
Oke, semua korbannya laki-laki.
Because Chihiro was a girl?
Bingo, bullseye, right on the money!
Talking about.
Gini dong,
In
keren
all the
gitu.
Genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in common.
Iya, korbannya laki-laki semua sih.
They were all guys?
That's right! The people I killed with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men!
Adorable little man. Tadi ada yang umurnya 34 nanti.
I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl, and the mopey side of me just hates it. But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
So since Chihiro
Gila.
was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't kill her?
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality of a one and
Keren, keren.
only.
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. But that's not all there is to it. It's a different matter entirely when you're forced to kill in order to survive.
Quiet, lowly cur!
Lowly cur?
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survival. And if by some fluke I did kill to survive, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect!
That does make some amount of sense.
Whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any scissors in the school.
Any scissors?
Tadi dia bawain, dia nunjukin gunting tadi kan.
Don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class envy of the entire world scissors.
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the school.
Are you sure about that? Da-da-da-da!
That's cool, man.
She's fully equipped.
That's
Gila.
right. So I can kill anywhere, anytime. Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors by my side?
Wow. Kok bisa dia punya gunting yang bukannya peralatan kemarin semua disita ya? Mungkin dia salah satu yang dikasih kelebihan sama si Monokuma. Biar rame.
And you gutter dogs, all of you. Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot. The rope's totally out of the question anyway.
I have no idea what's going on anymore. Could such a heinous villain really be innocent?
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
Yeah. That's why we figured it had to be the real deal and not some copycat killer or whatever.
Sebenarnya tunggu sebentar, ada satu orang yang bisa mengcopy genocide Jack case. Ya aku ya dong.
Here's my answer. Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it?
Oh.
You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents or internal police records. Plus, you've already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Are you saying Mr.
Ooh.
Kagami did it?
Senjata berbalik.
Then the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on it. The adorable glasses man was behind it all. Oh, I'm on fire!
Oh, interesting.
Well, Byakuya, what's your response?
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely you must have an answer.
Looking back and thinking about it now, the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange.
Oke, apa dia bilang? Dan locker room. Mereka mencurigakan, sangat mencurigakan, ya kan? Tidak kakak setuju? Mencurigakan. Tampaknya tidak ada seorang pun mencari locker room. Ayo kita mulai dari locker room perempuan.
You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you want to say?
Yeah.
Victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls' locker room.
Oke, tapi kita awalnya kita nggak tahu kalau korbannya Chihiro. Yep, that's
strange
right.
about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share with the rest of the class.
Ada clarification dari yang Byakuya bilang barusan. Oh, apa lagi nih? Ada yang baru lagi. truth flashback. Kau bisa mengambil weak spot and hold the left. Oke, kemudian kau akan mengingat weak spot. Terus hanya bisa ditembak sekali dengan sebagai single truth bullet. Oke. Kau menembak atau mengganti truth bullet itu akan menghilang dari oke. Oke. Oke, gue harus tahan klik kirinya sekarang. Klik kirinya. No, banyak sekali fitur yang harus dipelajari. Monokuma file 2.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird.
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro,
Who was a girl.
Kita kan nggak tahu kalau awalnya korbannya Chihiro.
No, that's wrong!
Oh shit.
I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
Bodoh.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning is still too weak.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more than that. Go ahead, show us.
Ada apa dengan kelakuan aja Byakuya? Seakan-akan dia tidak peduli. Aku memunculkan dia tapi dia ketika seakan-akan itu tidak ada hubungannya dengannya.
You're not finished already, are you? There must be more to it.
There is.
There
Kabel.
is more to it. Think about it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack incidents. The proof you're looking for is hidden in there.
Oh? Proof that I'm the culprit, you mean?
Berbeda antara kasus ini dengan kasus genocide Jack yang lain. Bukti yang membuktikan bahwa Byakuya bertanggung jawab adalah di sana. Kira-kira apa ya? Kabelnya sih, karena yang udah kabelnya kan di ruangan itu loh. Nah, ini dia.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors.
Bukan.
And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
Oke.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
Dor.
No, it's wrong.
Gila. Padahal udah seneng sama karakter Byakuya, nggak nyangka ternyata dia pelakunya.
I'm pretty sure you have
Oh,
seen
shit.
it before. Because you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
Kabel.
An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's
Oke.
really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that bloody message.
No, dia ngebunuhnya di locker laki-laki kemudian ditukar
I
tempatnya.
intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right?
Karena sebelum ini juga dia kan baca novel gitu ya. Terus katanya kalau misalkan dia akan ngelakuin pembunuhan, dia akan melakukan dengan cara yang menarik gitu. Ya, dia melakukannya lagi. Oke.
What's wrong? I asked you if you think that's what happened.
Hell yes, that's what happened.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
You kept calling this a game, right? so he'd be totally willing to do something like this to win.
Sorry, but could we hold on just a second?
Loh, kok?
I think we need to talk about this a little more.
What?
Do we really need to? We've already decided who did it.
I know, but still, there's something that's still bothering me.
Is that right? And what, pray tell, is still bothering you? I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath.
Terus dia jelasin
What
gitu loh.
about all that bothers you?
Tunggu sebentar. Apakah itu saja? Ada sesuatu yang aneh. Ciro ini benar-benar ditemukan di kolom, tapi apakah itu artinya? Yep. Scene of a crime.
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else?
How disappointing. What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointments, this is a true letdown. She was found dead in the girls' locker room. There is absolutely no question about that. How could the scene of the crime have been anywhere else?
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was killed somewhere else, then carried there later, along with the rest of the murder scene.
Rest of the murder scene?
Yeah, berubah juga
That
wajahnya.
was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for saying all of that.
I believe I do.
Ya, kau baru saja nampak ya. Kita mengenai tiba-tiba memindahkan clip sign. Oh, oke.
Hey, don't just move on without permission. What do you mean she was killed somewhere else?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof.
Bukti bahwa pembunuhan terjadi di tempat yang lain. Oke. Poster dulu.
I got it!
Kita
The
poster
proof
dulu.
that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls'
Mukanya udah
locker
berubah,
room
udah
was
nganang lagi.
a picture of a big-boobed supermarket.
Big boob.
But don't you think that's
Specific
kind of
banget.
strange? Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys' locker room.
Tidak spesifik.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker rooms. You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
Iya, noda kopi ya.
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet. But I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally
Ini
scrubbed
si
away.
Kyoko nggak ada ngomong sama sekali. Jarang banget ngomong. Tidak, bukan nodanya menghilang. Nodanya dipindah.
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Itu noda kopi gitu.
Does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why would anyone do that?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible.
Dia
Don't you
niat
think?
banget nih sampai mau ngejebak si Genocide Jack-nya gitu loh. Genocide Jill gitu katanya. Sekarang.
In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I
Keren,
can
keren banget.
certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
Nama pelakunya repot buat melakukan itu ya untuk memfitnahin perempuan.
Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, Then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the card reader device. But Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
Oh,
I
oke.
highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
Iya benar, kayak Chihiro ke kursus gambar. Oke. Sekarang kita pakai apa? Broken e-handbook.
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook.
No.
She was the ultimate programmer.
Enggak juga sih.
I'm sure that would have been no problem for her. No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Yeah.
What then?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course. No, that's wrong.
No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Handbook rusak.
Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one.
Oke, meminjamkan ya nggak boleh.
In
Kalau
other
meminjam boleh.
words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
If the nails
Kenapa dia malah ngejelasin coba?
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She used her ultimate programmer skills.
No.
You can't fix an e-handbook. The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring.
So, if she
Keren
didn't
banget ya.
use Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify her own handbook,
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just wrong?
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room. So I guess so.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Oh. Apa gitu saja? Chihiro dibunuh di girls locker room dan Byakuya adalah yang melakukannya, benarkah? Stop saya, aku tidak tahu apa lagi.
Hold on a second.
Nah, ngomong juga si Kyoko akhirnya.
I agree with you.
Baby.
I think you're on the right track.
What the? You finally decide to open your mouth and
Pendiam banget
that's what
kan
you
akhirnya.
got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So,
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
Ada cara lain untuk masuk.
What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Emang boleh?
Wait. Just what do you think you're doing?
Yang kalian lakukan.
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting?
Menarik. Kita semua bukti yang kita temuin kayaknya udah kita bongkar semua deh.
For real?
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
Interesting. Kita keluar loh. Jadi tanpa aku sadari, kelas trial ditunda. Kami keluar dengan Kyoko menuntun. Kemudian dia membawa kami ke crime scene.
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top to bottom. What are you trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
Oh iya, dia memang ngecek badan korban secara menyeluruh sih.
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Disuruh meriksa.
Examine her carefully. No, wait.
Goblok.
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body. It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just based on religious grounds, you know?
Takut semua. Cuma si Kyoko aja yang berani ngegedah mayatnya.
Very well. I'll do it.
Oh.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her. So just leave this to me.
Sakura. What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about? That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Gila. Si Sakura juga gentleman banget. Hey, gentlewoman banget.
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
Oke.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but what? This
Oh, ada sesuatu.
What is this?
Nah, apa tiba-tiba
What
dia?
is it?
Apa itu?
Not possible. It's not possible.
Gak mungkin. Wow.
This girl is
Is what?
Di sini.
a boy.
What the fuck? What a fucking plot twist, anjing. What a fucking plot twist. Oh, what a fucking plot twist, anjing.
So she was actually a he. Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact.
Dia baru nyadar goblok.
You're joking, right?
Bercanda ya kan?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Begitu?
It's really true?
Wah, itu benar-benar benar.
Chihiro was a guy?
What a fucking plot twist. Wow.
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat.
Kelas apa?
Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, the world really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
Aku yang membunuhnya.
So
Goblok.
that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting.
Semua nggak ada yang nyadar mas kita ya.
Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial.
Jeez, dia pakai prop anjir nggak ada yang
I do
nembak.
apologize for keeping you waiting.
What?
Now then, let's resume
Now
the
that's a
class
good plot
trial.
twist.
We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy. Let's pick up from there.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy.
Tidak sangka bahwa Chihiro sebenarnya adalah laki-laki. Itu tidak benar-benar pikiran.
And because
Iya,
the
kita
victim
semua tidak
was
bisa menebak
male,
hal itu, bro.
he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Itulah kenapa dia nggak mau kalau diajak bareng sama si Sakura sama si Aoi, dia nggak pernah mau ya, karena ya well, punya dia adalah boys, makanya dia latihan tengah malam.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
Iya, ini sekarang jadi lebih mudah. Coba.
Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd.
Gue harus mengakui itu agak aneh.
I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
Goblok.
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Dia kau pembunuhnya ya kan?
Very interesting. This has become very interesting indeed.
Oke.
He's off in his own little world.
What
Oke,
about
sekarang
you,
gue berpikir
Makoto?
kalau misalkan bukan si
After
Byakuya lagi
everything
ya.
we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
Wow, gawat nih.
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like genocide Jack did it.
Byakuya adalah orang yang membuat kematian Chihiro terlihat seperti
But I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
dia bukan pelakunya.
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
What?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt. He
Overt?
consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see it. And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy, if you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
Oke, itu
So
benar.
that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but
But
it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Mark it as correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit.
oke.
I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Hanya kebetulan menemukan mayat di girls locker room dan memutuskan untuk
Are
mengubahnya.
you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I find it very hard to believe.
Go ahead, find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you
Oke,
say?
dia cuma pengen supaya lebih seru doang gitu loh. Karena kan kemarin juga dia bilang kalau misalkan ada pembunuhan gitu, kalau misalkan dia merencanakan pembunuhan, dia akan membuatnya jadi lebih menarik gitu kan.
Now then, if it wasn't me,
Ya mungkin dia niatnya dia cuma pengen bikin supaya lebih menarik doang.
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
Oke, si Yasuhiro ini benar-benar memaksakan bahwa pelakunya si
No,
Byakuya.
I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility. Because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me
Ah,
in.
oke. Tiba-tiba dia berubah pikiran.
Not have a mind of your own?
Kau benar-benar tidak punya ketetapan
Of
pikiran.
course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Oke, kita udah nyoret semua bukti dan semua temuan.
excellent.
Gue harus cukup
Then
lanjutin
shall we
ininya aja
resume
deh.
our game of hide and seek?
Gue juga bilang kita tidak melakukannya. Kira-kira siapa yang sebenarnya membunuh Chihiro? Ada satu hal yang kita bisa ketahui mengenai pembunuhnya. Pembunuhnya mampu menggain akses ke real murder scene, yang mana artinya the killer is a guy. Pelakunya laki-laki dan pelakunya kuat karena dia bisa ngangkat barbel yang cukup banyak. Gue rasa antara si Taka atau si Mondo ya. Tapi kita tidak boleh ada di antara. Pelakunya pasti laki-laki. Jadi tidak cukup, aku menemukan lebih banyak petunjuk. Pengakuan Siles.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Aku nggak kenal.
Clues are one thing, but did nobody
Oh ya, ada
get a look
pelaku,
at the
ada
killer?
pengakuannya si Celeste sama pengakuannya si Aoi ya,
If someone saw
belum
the
oke.
killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
Shoot!
Salah.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look
Oke,
at the
berarti
killer?
bukan ini omongannya si
Sure,
Aoi
if
yang perlu gue
someone saw
tembak.
the killer, they would have said something by now.
Si Celeste kenapa nggak mau ngomong
Perhaps
ya?
someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer. No, it's wrong.
Oke, ada pengakuannya si Celeste sama pengakuannya si Aoi
I
ya.
believe
Kayaknya.
someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes, I did see him.
I did see him. Him. Iya, gue shock kalau ternyata si Chihiro laki-laki anjir. Gue sangat shock.
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever. Just hurry up and tell us.
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
Oh, jangan-jangan juga sama ya. Dia mungkin yang mau ngerencanain pembunuhan, tapi habis itu ternyata berbalik, dia malah jadi korbannya gitu loh.
Track jacket and a double bag. But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Nah, aku sebaiknya bergegas, aku agak buru-buru.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
Oh,
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
iya.
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much.
Dia sangat mempercayai siapapun yang dia temuin.
So that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
Sampai dia rela untuk membongkar rahasia besarnya.
The marvelous friendship!
Hah?
The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No, you already have what you need to make the connection.
Sudah mendapatkan apa yang kau butuhkan untuk membuat connection.
Huh?
Hah? Ekspresi gue sama juga.
You know who the killer is.
Kau tahu siapa pelakunya? Ya, dia ngebug. Oke.
Seriously?
Oke, kalau dari bisa jadi sih. No, si Takang mungkin enggak ya, karena dia nggak suka percakapan kecil dan mungkin nggak deket sama si itu. Dan kemarin itu, iya kemarin si Mondo itu deket sama si Chihiro loh. Ya ada spark gitu loh kan. Oh,
Who is it? Who's the killer?
siapa pelakunya?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of.
Pikirkan lagi track jacket dan duffel bag yang dibuang oleh
Focus on
pelakunya.
the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Fokus pada detail item ini kok bisa
Are
menjelaskan
you
jelas.
sure about that?
Ah,
Do
ini
you
kenapa
think
jadi
we
ngebug
can
begini
figure
ya?
out who did it based on two pieces of evidence that we don't have?
Oke, kita bisa menemukan siapa pelakunya berdasarkan dua buah bukti yang tidak kita miliki.
What?
You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Gue lupa hidupin Nitro Sense, CPU sama GPU gue udah panas banget. Fuck. Oke, mudah untuk kumpul kata itu. Oke, jadi loading dulu deh.
And Chihiro's jacket.
Ada koneksi antara pelaku dan jaket Chihiro.
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket they took.
Oh, jaket Chihiro benar-benar memiliki petunjuk mengenai pelakunya. Entah mengapa agak sulit dipercayai. Yeah. Wow, panjang juga nih. Lakukan sales.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise.
Salah.
Next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is... the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. This exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing it?
Apa yang dia bilang bahkan tanpa menyadarinya. Oke, tadi ada yang satu bilang hitam sama nggak punya tracksuit sama warna putih yang diambil dari gudang. Dia benar apa yang dia bilang barusan sangat aneh. Bagaimana dia mengetahui sesuatu yang seperti itu? Bagaimana dia mengetahui
We know
sesuatu
where
yang seperti itu?
Chihiro was headed.
Wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
Kena, yes. Oh, ternyata gue nggak boleh ngeklik tahan gitu loh. Karena itu jadinya pelurunya beda aja.
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Kelepasan sih Mondo.
What'd I say?
Bodoh anjir.
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said...
Aku melihat dia memasukkan double jack dan tidak double back. Dan kemudian dia menuju olahraga.
She never said anything about the jacket's color.
Tidak pernah bilang apapun mengenai
So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
Bodoh. Kelepasan dia. Bodoh anjir.
Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
Bodoh, padahal dari tadi aman, nggak ada bukti yang menuju ke dia anjir.
Did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Mampus goblok.
Because I just...
Maaf sih.
We saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
si Taka ngebelain dia sekarang karena mereka udah body-body ya. Boy, baru aja dapat pertemanan, baru aja bonding aja.
Then
Waduh.
the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died. That's the only possibility.
Cherry?
Are you talking about Chihiro? So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night.
Kebetulan aku melihat
He
tentang malam.
walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony,
Dia masukkan jaketnya ke dalam tas dengan terburu-buru, seakan-akan dia mencoba menyembunyikannya. Dan kemudian dia pergi.
when Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, You couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
Mampus. Mati.
It would appear you dug your own grave.
Kamu gak kemudian sendiri.
But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it?
Oh, dia udah tahu ya.
Was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit.
Niatnya sebenarnya adalah untuk memancing agar si pelakunya kelepasan bicara.
You said you knew he did it. To put them on edge.
Apabila kamu tahu siapa yang melakukannya.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
Mondo adalah targetku sejak awal. Aku curigai dia sejak awal.
Why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question.
Cara dia berbicara, cara dia bertingkah, karena aku membenci dia. The way he was acting. Nope, salah.
There was a certain turning point that ticked me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happen to refer to him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
Oh.
Did you notice such a tiny detail?
Oh, berarti sejak awal gue nggak merhatiin percakapannya ya. Nanti gue coba nonton lagi deh. Jadi si Mondo sejak awal bicara kalau misalkan dia itu laki-laki gitu ya.
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
Oke, terakhir nih yang ribet nih.
I didn't kill anyone. You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Oke,
You
mulai.
would never do something like that. This is a false accusation.
Si takkan belain.
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
Aku
That was
kuat.
fast.
Itu cepat.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come.
Lah, apalagi dia ini.
My little ghost friend is telling me.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
Oke, apa yang dia punya? Hah.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
Alah, kampret.
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then here it is.
Here it is.
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook.
Oh, ini
I
ibu
found
punya
it laying on the ground,
si
so I scooped
si
it
hero
up.
yang hilang ya. Chihiro.
I got it!
Namanya
You
Chihiro
know
hilang kan?
Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted. It won't even turn on.
Rusak
I
lampu nyala.
imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Keren kan katanya.
Ooh. Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
I think it's weak spot.
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and 2 of them broke in quick succession, then
we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness.
Seorang mengetahui kelemahannya.
You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us already. Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... When it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
Kena panas terlalu lama, dia akan suffer meltdown, meleleh.
Knew it! You knew it?
Hah?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
Bukan handbooknya tergeletak di sauna.
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200
Oh.
degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt, huh? It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd
Bukanya ketemunya di
definitely
sauna
get
ya.
fried.
Wow, well.
That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
Oh, dia bawa e-booknya pas lagi di sauna kemarin sama si Taka, terus e-booknya dia rusak.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd
Mampus.
realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
Yeah.
I might know someone who did.
Seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
Halo. Siapa yang bawa handbooknya ke sauna? Itu pasti salah satu yang mengenakan semua pakaiannya ke dalam sauna itu adalah oke, udah jelas. Karena kemarin si Taka nyopot bajunya kan, kalau dia si Mondong mah nggak nyopot baju. Ya mati kau.
Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Sian kali.
Mondo and Taka
Aduh.
had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on.
Wow, Taka, your body is hot.
But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets.
Iya, dia nggak nyadar kalau misalkan ternyata e-booknya dia dibawa. E-booknya dia dibawa dan ternyata habis itu rusak.
And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
Kasihan banget, baru aja berteman padahal. Maksudku aku juga tidak percaya, tapi aku menemukan sesuatu yang membuktikan itu. Oh. Ya, ini lagi.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Lupa goblok. Oh, bukan
Let's
handbook.
test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
Salah. Tunggu ntar spasi tadi.
Look! Makoto was wrong! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Mau dulu apply. Padahal dia anggota ini anjir, geng motor.
Handbook works just fine.
No, it's wrong.
Now what?
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
The broken handbook that was in the main hall. Isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
Ditukar
What I mean
bukunya
is,
ya.
I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After
Wow.
all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's.
Wow. Arah ini ya kembang ke arah yang nggak
That
terduga
the
ya.
handbook Mondo has right now is
Awalnya
actually
dipikir
Leon's.
pelakunya si genocide-nya kan, terus dipikir pelakunya seakan-akan si Byakuya, tapi ternyata diarahin ke si Mondo aja.
School
Ternyata.
regulation that says loaning out your handbook is prohibited?
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student. It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting. As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but
Son of a bitch! What's wrong, bro? Come on! Tell him he's wrong! You are wrong! You have to be wrong! Everything you just said is wrong! You made it all up!
okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning?
Kita lihat kasusnya sekali lagi dari awal.
Everything will become clear, and we'll all
Oke,
see if I
kita
was
udah mulai
right
nyusun
or
kayak
wrong.
komiknya sekarang ini. Hahaha. Wow, this is so long.